This call is being recorded. If you do not wish to be recorded, please disconnect at this time.
Good day. I am the voice of We Provoke Thought. Now, We Provoke Thought is an organization and show that is looking to be the platform for all those who have an opinion, idea, or educated information to share to the world. An outlet, if you will, to voice your feelings and facts. Now, today, listeners, this is a continuation from our Part 1 segment titled New Age Movement Agenda, Part 1. This will be New Age Movement Agenda, Part 2. And in Part 1, we had a gentleman in Virginia that was sharing some very enlightening information about the New Age, I guess we can call it religion or belief or practice, if you will. And he touched upon a lot of good key information points, as well as providing everyone with some education on some of the things that we have found to be one thing, but is another. So we're going to continue on with that segment and New Age Movement Agenda Part 2. I'm going to reintroduce you all to this gentleman here. I want to start off quickly. I don't want to waste anyone's time because this man has a lot of information to share with you all. And this is what this show is about. We provoke thought, and for that, we do not apologize. So I'd like to say good day to you again, sir.
All right, nice to be back.
All right, good. And just for our new listeners, I just always like to give an idea of the demographics in which we reach. May I ask what city and state that you're in?
I am still in Lynchburg, Virginia.
All right, wonderful. All right, so let's continue on. Now, with the New Age movement and the agenda, Part 1, we were talking about the beliefs or the practices of the New Age religion, I guess we can call it, or belief. We had mentioned names such as Alice Bailey, who basically back for about past 60 years, she had popularized the whole New Age, and that movement, if you will, was widely introduced to thousands of young folks from the U.S. to Europe back in the 1960s.
What's going on right now within the entertainment industry and media at large, period, is the fulfilling of Alice Bailey's stratagem to make all of the arts occultic, music, poetry, arts, etc., to make them immoral, occultic, obscene, all of these things. It is a part of the New Age movement's agenda to establish a one world government system under which Lucifer will be acknowledged as sovereign. Why? Because our minds will be already acclimated to receiving these demonic suggestions as something that is good, because we have enjoyed it in our music, we've enjoyed it in our television programs, our cartoons, our video games, and in our clothing. ASAP is a new group that is just blowing up the same way that Odd Future blew up, the same way that Lady Gaga blew up, and every other artist that is jumping in the industry right now that is making sure that within their videos, on the clothing that they're wearing, they are throwing out occult symbols all over the place and connected with those occult symbols within their music, though they may not make a conscious decision to do this, but because they've become ready agents of the devil, because they have submitted their hearts not to Jesus Christ, but to the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eye, and the pride of life. The very principles contained within their music are the very principles that are connected to the symbols that are being promoted from the occult.
We spoke about how yoga and other practices were adopted into the Western world, or Western culture, which is basically a practice more so from the New Age movement. Is that correct?
That is exactly correct. Yeah, you'll see a lot of that. Well, we've seen a lot of that in its first stage, working its way over to this Western culture, and it had to go that way because, more specifically speaking, the Western culture has a very massive influence over the whole world, whether we like it or not. It is what it is. So for this New Age agenda, it basically had to migrate to the Western culture just so it could be given to the masses. We said that in the 60s. That's funny we mentioned that because now I'm thinking about it. It was done on a whole hippie movement, if you will. The hippie movement, the movement of free love, free thinking, and therefore that we got to think about it like this.
May we not fear the dark place that we enter in order to learn from you, Mother Earth. Guardians of the North, be with us. So mote it be.
A little too freaky for my taste.
Yeah.
A little too religious.
This went on for literally hour after hour after hour.
That's when the nation was at a standstill. Vietnam was happening, and we wanted to bring forth peace. And in order to bring forth peace, you had a nation of people that really wanted different. They wanted change. So that being said, it was easy for them to embrace what will be basically looking like peace. It will have the identity of peace. That doesn't make it, therefore, necessarily peaceful. So it seems that way. And I like to call it wolf in sheep's clothing because that's the way it presents itself to us when we are at a standstill or in turmoil. This New Age agenda, like I said, is nothing new. This has actually been going on before the 60s. It embraced a lot of people in the different hemisphere, going back to India, going back to, any other country there before. But more specifically speaking about America, because we have so much influence on the world, this is when it became more prevalent, and a good way to put it is on its platform, on its stage. Because we are the melting pot. We are a nation that branched off. We branched off from other countries that were seen to, they branched away from certain ideologies, whether it be from a certain church or whether it be from a certain group. So we are the land of the free and the home of the brave is what we like to coin ourselves with. But at some point, that's got to come to a head, and that's where we're at now with this New Age agenda that's been modernized and pushed on us. And it's in our, like I say, pop culture, it's in our society, and there's no getting away from it. However, I think what we're trying to do here is open people's eyes so they can see what's going on. That's the whole purpose of any of this. So we're trying to just basically give some insight to people.
All right, and let's do that. Let's do that now. I don't know if you have your notes in front of you or if you're spinning off, but we left off in New Age agenda movement. New Age movement agenda part 1. We left off first talking about the gentleman who, and I'll let you recap on that. The gentleman who had invented rocket propulsion, according to the information that you provide. Jack
1948 saw George Bush Sr. baptized in the name of Magog.
the spirit who would lead the army of demons against Christ at the apocalypse of Armageddon. That same year, Jack Parsons baptized himself as Belerion Armilas al-Dajjal, the Antichrist. Parsons took on the ancient Judaic teaching that Christ and his church were the enemy of civilization and that they had to be destroyed. On a 40-day pilgrimage in the Mojave Desert, the place where Area 51 now resides, Parsons summoned forth Babylon, the Scarlet Woman, the whore of the apocalypse, the consort of the great beast Satan 666. According to the mysterious Freighter H, during the ritual he saw Parsons rip a hole in space-time, and something evil flew in. So who was the mysterious Freighter H? None other than the author and inventor of the new cult religion of Scientology, Mr. L. Ron Hubbard. Former initiate of Aleister Crowley's OTO, Hubbard wrote a so-called sacred text called Dianetics, which now has an inspired following of evangelical millionaires in Hollywood, just as the Kabbalah training schools are now brim full of people who had their interest in these Judaic magical techniques inspired by Britney Spears and Madonna.
Indeed. And we then also began to talk about, and I know we're going to probably stir up some issues and maybe cause a lot of little mom and pop shops to lose business on this one if we sell it the right way. But we spoke about Area 51 not necessarily being an area where our government or our military forces house UFO technology and other special military gear and information and things of that nature, but more so a portal or an area where I believe it was spirits or demons or something that are being conjured, if you will. So I'm just trying to help you, just trying to get you back on track and also trying to recap for those who were listening and for our new listeners today. So I'll let you have the floor from there.
Okay, that's a good topic to start right back on, from the New Age agenda. A lot of people might be wondering, how does the talk of aliens or demons or ghosts, as we call them, how does that tie in with the New Age agenda? Actually, how that ties in with the New Age agenda is because it's all under one canopy once again. If you keep the people in total chaos of belief in the disbelief of anything that could be natural or unnatural, that's what it stems from. Most people, if you ask them, believe, and you don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure even if you did a study or you can research a study, they will believe that the existence of aliens is their problem. It is natural. Most people, even people that believe in God, they believe, or in Christ, they believe that some form of evolutionary life form exists in the realms of space, universe, whatever we like to call it. I like to touch it more because I believe that the people that we spoke about before, whether it be Aleister Crowley or Jack Parsons, they know the actual answer to this, and not limited to them, because there's a lot of people that exist nowadays, because this study has not ended with those guys or those men. So they understand and knew that it wasn't really just little green men, as we like to call them, or Martians that exist in space that we get technology from. No, what they were doing was they were conjuring actual spirits up and getting information from these spirits, because they had learned a way to tap into this, and doing a little bit more research with theosophy or the New Age agenda is it's enlightenment. It's an understanding which cannot be seen with the naked eye. And it's an enlightenment of the mind. It's an enlightenment because it's the evolution of the human as a whole. So what these men have found out is that you can actually garner and gain access to certain knowledges that, whether it be metaphysical or physical, through physics, through mind, through power, how to manipulate certain things so it can be given to us through science or through physics. So they learned that you can actually tap into this by, what's a good way for this? By communicating with evil spirits. And in the forefront, it may seem like it's a good idea, but as we all know, messing with evil spirits is never a good thing. And this is not even limited to science or physics. This is branched this way all the way into our music, to our movies, and into our pop culture. And once again, like we said, we can actually see that. If you have the eye to see that, you'll begin to start pointing out when you see these things that have become prevalent from this New Age agenda that is written and stamped on almost everything we see and do. Like I say, in music, you can see it nowadays, especially with rap music. You know, funny enough, they would say that rap music would never make it. Am I right? I mean, we've heard this before. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but they said that when rap music first came out, they thought it was a fad. It would never make it. Rap music is probably the most popular music in the industry today. It probably is the most
influential as well.
It's the most influential instrument, if you will. And I'm going to refer to it as an instrument because that'll detail what I'm about to say. Now, when something gets to that magnitude and it touches so many people's life, it's not limited to a demographic, it's not limited to a color. Any and everybody embraces hip-hop or rap music. Being that it has made it this far, the New Age agenda has put its nail to it, it gripped it, and now it is using it as puppet strings to sway a whole society of people that listen to hip-hop. So when something got to that plateau, what they had to do is they used it as a means of spreading their New World agenda gospel. And you can't miss it. It's everywhere. We spoke briefly about Jay-Z wearing Aleister Crowley T-shirt. I mean, we see it all the time. I remember listening to an interview from a girl that her agent called her and asked her to be in a Rick Ross video. And she arrived at the show, and just like in any talk radio, they have a guy that sits there and debriefs you and find out what's going on with you. You don't just go dance on these videos. Go there, and it's back to okay. Before you go in here, I want you to understand something. You're going to see things that you probably don't want to see. There'll be a lot of drug activity. There will also be a lot of lesbian activity, sexual things going on. And are you okay with that? If not, you can leave now. If so, you're welcome to come in. We're going to dance, have a good time, blah, blah, blah. So this girl is describing her experience at this Rick Ross video shoot. As she goes in, she sees exactly what she was told. She sees exactly what the disclaimer gave. Not only that, she sees a lot more. Rick Ross comes in the room, and he gets his group hyped up, and his way of getting them hyped up was by chanting 666. And the reason for doing this was that he was chanting up evil spirits to come over all of these people in his room so that he would have a successful video.
At the time, it was, I guess, Pretty Ricky's manager. Right. And this is in, I want to say, 2005 or 2006, I believe. And he asked me to audition for some type of tour that they were having. They needed models for. And he said to come to some secret location wearing a G-string and to be ready for something called the freak test. Right. And he also said, how would I feel if I was to walk into the tour bus and I would see an orgy. How would I feel about that? He asked me how would I feel if I was to walk inside the bus and I saw people taking drugs such as ecstasy, or what are my views about that? And like, what would I do?
Right.
Because they already had a girl that he told me that freaked out and they had to send her home. So now he lets everybody know up front so they won't be scared and so they won't have to, spend money on them going home.
Right. So they're trying to check out where your head is at if, you see them, a host of people having an orgy or, popping pills, smoking, whatever they're doing. They want to make sure that you'll be comfortable in that environment and even willing to, jump in and be a part of it, right?
Exactly.
And so
So
how did you react to that?
I said, I don't feel comfortable with that. After that, I just left that alone. That was the last time that I spoke to him.
Right.
A couple days after that, he was still calling, still trying to get me to, I guess, change my mind.
Definitely.
They may seem nice and they care on the outside, but deep down they have a different agenda. And when I was on the Sean Garrett and Rick Ross music video for 6 a.m, the director said for everybody to throw up in number 6. And for us to all say, come on, 6. Like, he was making like fun. Like, if I wouldn't have known what it really meant, it just would have went right over my head like it did most people that were there.
So wait a second, say that again. What happened here?
Basically, everybody there was chanting 666. This guy is telling us to all say 666. And I'm like, nobody finds that strange, not even, do people even know what this means? Like, right. I'm looking around, I guess it just went way over people's heads. If you don't know what that means, of course you're going to start chanting it.
Wow.
That was the last, that was it. I was like,
wow. Everybody's just on the set chanting 666. So you got Rick Ross there, all these guys, and they're chanting 666.
Good, but I mean, we're chanting 666 and nobody finds that strange.
That's how I know the church is having a church experience, but we have not yet seen God.
Now that's just an example of how this New Age agenda / Luciferianism has not just limited itself to science, or it has branched this way into the music world. And that's actually not hard to understand, being that we, even laymen should know this. Lucifer was the angel of music. So obviously he's going to get his agenda out some way. And if he's going to do it, it's going to be what he was designed for, which is music. So I also see a problem with not just the powers that be it politicians, scientists, whatever the case is. I also see it in the movie industry as well as the music industry.
Right,
so,
right. And just to touch on, just to touch on, I mean, just to kind of support or challenge or just basically add to some of that, like just recently, and a lot of folks can at least say that or a lot of folks have witnessed the Beyonce performance that she had, where she was ridiculed for having the dress of the Baphomet.
The Baphomet, exactly. Once again, a piece of propaganda. Yep, exactly.
Right. Madonna has also had that same symbolism going on, along with the other young performer. Excuse me, her name I lost her name, but nonetheless, Beyonce being one of the more popular out of the
right.
In the rap industry, that is, that R&B industry or what have you, wherever they're categorizing these folks nowadays, I think it's all in one big pool. But you have many performers using the imagery from these satanic idols and so on and so forth. So, again, I just point that out just to kind of support that, because you mentioned Jay-Z.
Let me ask you this. Why do you not think that, why wouldn't people question that? That's one thing that perplexes me, is why would not people question? Why would we embrace that and not question that? That's the only thing that I find perplexing. Maybe it's just that can be that is you know, is learned.
You know, a lot. I believe that, you know, with what we have, the society that we have today, the most of them are asleep. There are a lot of people that are awake. There are a lot of people that are going to listen to this show and have been listening to this show, and, you know, whether they agree, disagree, they're awake, and they do see the truths between in a lot of their beliefs. They find answers because of the fact that they're not asleep. And I use that term, asleep, awake, or so on and so forth, loosely. But at the end of the day, that's just what it is. It's a lot of folks are in a sleep-like state of mind, where they're close to the truth. They're, you know, following, you know, or worshiping satanic idols, and not having a strong faith or spiritual background or spiritual ground allows one to be put into that slumber. You know,
right.
You know, that's you know, to kind of quickly answer that question. That's basically it. Without any type of strong spiritual strength and belief system, you are more susceptible to being overcome and tempted by Satan and his demon work.
And that seems to be the answer to it all. Sometimes it can be a little perplexing for me, because I you know, it's easier for me because I will say this. It's not like I learned what I'm saying overnight. This has been years of researching and looking and doing stuff, and you got to have the you know, you got to have the want to do that. And if you don't want to do it, then you're not gonna do it. So
right.
It also takes a person that wants to know these things, because what's the saying? Ignorance is bliss. So, and ignorance and stupidity are two different things, as we both know. Ignorance just means to not know. I believe at the same time, a lot of these people just don't know. You know, they don't really want to know, to be honest. But at the same time, moving back forward to what we were speaking about, I just want people to go out and test these things on your own. Go research things and find out before you're so quick to latch on to something. That's all.
Right. Like when you hear terminologies, when you hear names, authors, and you know, words such as Baphomet and you know, names such as Alice Bailey, and when you hear certain groups or certain communities or certain beliefs or so being raised, search just the word itself. That word or that name will open up the gate to that information, and then you can then either support or challenge the information that has been given to you. So, and then again,
and even moreover, when you see it as well, when you see it in front of you, when you see her wearing a shirt that has a Baphomet on it and you don't know what it is, you might want to research where that came from. When you see Jay-Z wearing a shirt that says "Doubt shalt do it, thou wilt," you might want to know who coined that term, which was a man who was into Luciferianism. So why would he be wearing it? So you might want to, as far as hearing, as well as when you see these things, because in pop culture, people eat with their eyes first. They eat with their eyes. And what I mean by that is when you see something, you got to be able to be like, okay, what is this? I question everything I see, as well as you should. You should question everything you see.
Hello, I'm Patrick McNee. The Illuminati is said to be a global secret society that has been operating for centuries. A hidden brotherhood that includes some of the world's most influential people of all races and religions that hold top positions in government, churches, business, education, science, medicine, military, financial, and charitable institutions. A secret fraternity whose sole purpose is to take over control of the entire world's resources, finances, and its people. If such a powerful secret society does exist, it represents the ultimate threat to the free world. In fact, it means that right now there is actually no free world at all.
The New World Order first appeared on the plains of Shinar, where Nimrod proposed to build the Tower of Babel. Its purpose was to defy God's authority over men, to cast God out of their lives, and to usher in the occultic world and welcome the Prince of Darkness to rule the earth. The Tower of Babel, which means confusion, was covered with occultic symbols of the zodiac as its decoration. The second appearance of the New World Order came when Satan met Jesus in the wilderness, and he said, "If you will fall down and worship me, I will give you the kingdoms of this world." Now understand this. Satan had been given geographical control of this part of the universe, and he had it within his power to do exactly what he said. Satan was cast out of heaven. He became the Prince of Darkness. Prince means someone in authority in his kingdom. Wherever there is spiritual darkness, Satan has authority. Get that in your mind. That's why Jesus said to the church, "You are the light of the world. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven." Continuing the historical progression of the New World Order. Out of the European history comes the Illuminati, meaning enlightened. A super secret organization of international financial power brokers in Europe that had as their goal a world empire and a new world order. Their leadership consisted of Satanists and atheists. Ironic that followers of the Prince of Darkness thought of themselves as the source of light, until you look at the Bible and recognize that Satan himself disguises himself as an angel of light. Their objective, the Illuminati, was to kick God out of society and that man should rule it. If you have a United States dollar in your wallet, it bears the phrase "One World Order," the seal that was adopted by Congress in 1782. The seal that's on the left depicts an unfinished pyramid with an all-seeing eye at its top in a blaze of glory. Beneath that pyramid are three Latin words, Novus Ordo Seclorum, which means New World Order.
Why are they doing this? What's the subliminal message they're trying to lay out for me here? Why are they? So that, as I say, you might want to look. One might want to look into why these things are happening in front of them with their eyes.
And a lot of it is not a lot of it is not misdirection. You have,
Right.
like I mentioned in the first segment of New Age Movement Agenda Part 1, you know, a lot of it is just hide in plain view. And, you know, it's easy for folks to be imprinted with these ideas, to be imprinted with these symbolisms and so on and so forth. So you see these special hand gestures and things like that, and what is played off as a simple or normal or natural hand gesture, as you start to research it, you find out, wait a minute, these hand gestures lead to other areas, and, you know, that doesn't seem too natural anymore. You know, one doesn't naturally start throwing out signals and hand gestures that are worshiping the devil and things of that nature. So you have to question everything at the end of the day.
Right.
But just to get back to where we were, I want us again, for the listeners, I want us to also, you know, stay true to the course that we were taking. Now, we were talking about Area 51 being the portal for the conjuring of the spirits, and then I wanted you to segue from there.
All right, no, that sounds good. Okay, just to touch more base with it, this one cool bring it up because it's the truth. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principality. I can't say that enough. It's not like Jay-Z is the devil or Jack Parsons or even Aleister Crowley, even though he did change his name to Aleister Crowley so it could equate to 666. It's not like I'm saying that. What I'm trying to say is these things that we're up against are spiritual beings. Anything that seems natural to the natural eye probably has some rooting in the spiritual realm. What these people have understood is that they can conjure these things or these demons or interdimensional beings for their own benefit. The thing about the New Age agenda is actually that's what it's about, your own benefit or your self-fulfillment. We briefly looked at basically what it generally means is you are your own God, meaning everyone that walks this planet is a personal God. You're a God. Now, the issue with that is if you look up what a God is, most people that think of themselves as a God is they don't equate to exactly what the definition of a God. So that being said, that can be translated to one other thing, and the only thing that can be translated to is pride. And the pride of man is exactly what this New Age agenda is. And if you want to test it, that's how you can see that this New Age agenda is probably not what it says it is. Meaning, if something tells you that you are a personal God, that you basically are self-fulfillment or self-fulfilling, that you are above anything else, then it's probably not right. And the reason I say that is because there's a thin line between you thinking of yourself and as a God and being prideful. And the reason I say that is because, once again, pride is a self-destructive nature, is what it is. So it kind of goes against its own teaching is what it does. Anybody that knows someone that is very prideful, we really don't care for them that much. They think of themselves as above you or above anyone else that you all know together. So the whole thing about the New Age agenda being a self-fulfillment or a self-enlightening experience is it leads to a prideful nature. And pride is basically self-destruction because man is very much fallible. So that being said, what you will have is these guys that had learned to tap into these things, and they learned that they could manipulate physics for the benefit of mankind. And also, this goes beyond that because they were prideful men because they didn't need anyone else to do this. What they did need is they needed evil spirits to move forward with this, move forward with their agenda, which is gaining notoriety. And that's kind of what that also ties into the prideful nature. Because Jack Parsons will forever be known as the guy who invented rocket propulsion. You can research his name. So it begets a prideful nature in itself, in that standpoint as well. In today's standard, though, you'll have your modern-day Jack Parsons, Aleister Crowley's, Alice Bailey's. You still have those people that exist. and I'm just going to use people that I'm familiar with because I see it every day. You'll have people like Jay-Z. You'll have people, some mega church preachers like T.D. Jakes. These people are self-fulfilling people. They don't do it for the people. They do it for themselves. They do it because they like the notoriety and reflection of what they do, because that is a self-fulfilling thing. Going back to that phrase, do without will, think about that. The Bible actually teaches completely against that. See, this phrase is a Luciferian phrase because do without will means do whatever you would like to do as long as you feel good doing it. I would hate to imagine a world where everyone did exactly what they wanted to do just because it made them feel good. It just doesn't equate. And this is how you can test any situation. Now, I know some people may be like, well, that doesn't work for everyone, that, some people can live with that, but at the same time, we must remember that the New Age agenda is saying that everyone is a god. There's no possible way that everyone can be a god, because it actually it goes against itself. It goes against its own teachings, because if everyone was self-fulfilling, then there would be also self-destruction, because we would be stepping over others to get to a standpoint of self-pride, to get to a self-fulfillment. In order for you to get to self-fulfillment, you have to do it without will. And to do what you will, you have to step on other people and crush other people to get where you're going. This is why that's a problem nowadays, because we see it in rap music, because everything is, I don't really even need to quote any of the music that we hear. It's not even limited to rap music, to be honest. It goes well beyond that, even the subliminal things.
Well, and just to kind of put a little asterisk next to that. I mean, even in the Bible, Jesus tells how ungodly men are, and I believe it is Mark 7:21-23. From within, out of the heart of men, proceed evil thoughts, adulteries, fornications, murders, thefts, wickedness, deceit, lewdness, an evil eye, blasphemy, and the key word that you spoke on, pride and foolishness. All these evil things come from within and defile a man. So I mean, that kind of like, so just to support that, the whole problem with men, and the whole problem with or man, I should say, and the whole problem with this following of the New Age. With pride, there's a great level of issues that go along with that. Wickedness, deceit, adulteries, fornication. All of this is what is embraced in this culture of music, as well as this lewd culture or lewd society that we have being created today. All from this thought that, man is God, and folks are walking around with this godly belief that they have, or this divine belief that they have within themselves or of themselves.
Right.
I just wanted to again point that out.
Okay, so you touched on something a moment ago. You said some of the wicked things that come out of it. Rest assured that those things you mentioned, whether it be fornication, whether it be idolatry, a lot of these things have to exist in the realm of the New Age agenda. What I mean by that is, if you look at the music industry, or if you look at the movie industry as it is, all of these things exist in it. I'll give you an example. Okay, Megafest just happened. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Megafest. But Megafest was like a gathering of all the mega preachers, led by and headed by T.D. Jakes. Okay, so at this Megafest, he had big names there. I mean, he had K. Michelle Williams, he had Carrie Hilson, he had, what's his name? I don't like his, Tyler Perry. All of these people were there. You can tell the fruits of someone about the people they keep around themselves. And what I mean by that is, those sins and things that you just named a moment ago, they have to exist within the realm of this New Age agenda. What I mean by that is, you're going to find out in Hollywood, in order for you to get places and do certain things, you're going to have to do sinful things to get where you're going. Well, if you just look at any of the news, whether it be Britney Spears shaving her head, whether it be Chris Brown beating on Rihanna, whether it be Zac Efron addicted to cocaine, or whatever the case may be, these sinful natures are, that they are not just prevalent, they are that's the norm within this New Age agenda, because that's how these people build themselves up, is through these things. That's how you can tell the fruits of something. When something is not, when it's not right, but it is, you can look at it and see what kind of simple nature. Another example is, like I said, I was speaking about the girl from the Rick Ross thing, is you have to almost embrace these things in order for you to be somebody who is somebody in this world of entertainment. And the reason I keep bringing up entertainment is because entertainment has embraced the ideologies and become the spokespeople, and I like to use the term ambassadors for the New Age agenda, because they are so popular. And if they are so popular, then you'll have the youth and anybody else that is that don't understand. They'll follow suit with whatever is going on in pop culture. So it is easy to look at the TV screen and see Jay-Z wearing a Baphomet shirt, or all CNI with a pyramid, and think that this is the thing they do, because they are the spokespeople / ambassadors for this New Age agenda. See, the efforts of the New Age agenda was not meant to happen overnight. These things were planned out. This has been planned out before. And we can speak briefly about how examples of this. Getting rid of religion is one of their huge agendas. And what I mean by agenda, I mean Christianity, Islam, Judaism. That is the huge thing to get rid of. They're going to push that on people, because this is a part of their agenda. This is why you have the universal love, the oneness. This is what yoga is about. This is what the New Age agenda is about. It's basically about oneness. So once you have oneness, anybody that speaks against oneness is now a criminal. So if your personal Lord and Savior is Christ, you are the criminal for believing that. So what you'll find out, and you'll start seeing recently, is that these people are going to start being persecuted in the name of Christ. And I'm not talking about your fake Christ, your T.D. Jakes, no offense to him, but actually all offense to him, but like your T.D. Jakeses and your Joyce Myers and Joel Osteen, who on TV blatantly deny Christ is the only way to God. I'm saying you're a real Christ that tells you about these things, that gives you this message that this New Age agenda that has been pushed on you actually is something that is harmful for your spirit, harmful for the future, your children, and everything. So what you begin to see is that it all engulfed in one shell. You'll find out that these people are working towards something of a globalization, is what it's going towards. And that's what the oneness comes from, the self-fulfillment. It stems from the New Age agenda. It's something that has been going on for years. And like I say, they wrote this book many years ago, and this is nothing that is new. They hope to have this accomplished by a certain time. The only thing that's keeping them from accomplishing these tasks that they pushing for, like a one world, or whatever you want to call it, one world government, new world order, whatever we like to call it. The thing that's keeping it from happening is people like us that speak against it. These people, us people, will be persecuted for speaking out against it.
Well, we Provoke Thought will be prepared, I should say.
So, I like to, like I say, in my last salutation on the part one, like I say, I my thing is to, and that would be my thing to people, and my gift is to speak and give people this understanding of, what is going on in the world, but so we are not all blind to the fact. And like you said a moment ago, I think a lot of people are privy to it. I think a lot of people do know what's going on. At the same time, I don't think a lot of people have spoken out, because if you look at it, a lot of people that have spoken out against it have all ended up they've ended up missing or dead. And that's a funny thing. That's a different topic, actually. That's a different topic, actually. There's a gentleman by the name of John Todd. I encourage everyone to do some research on this guy. he was one of the first people to come against the music industry. He worked in the music industry himself, actually. And he speaks about how they conjure demons, how they preach demons over music so it reaches the masses. And this is well beyond, this is before even rap came out. This guy was telling this stuff back in the 60s, in the 70s. His life came to a short end. There's another gentleman by the name of Fritz Springmeier who exactly did the exact same thing. And these are some of the gentlemen that I encourage your listeners to go and do some research on. Like I said, I'll say their names again, John Todd and Fritz Springmeier. These guys spoke heavily against what is going on in the world today. And the reason they spoke against it is because they were there. They've seen it with their own eyes. They've spoken with people who have been in the industry. As an example, John Todd once briefly spoke about Crosby, Stills, and Nash, which was a very popular band back in the 70s and 80s. And he spoke to one of the gentlemen from the band, and he asked them briefly, he said, let me ask you something. Do you still preach demons over your music? He's like, of course we do. And the thing about that is they do this so that they can keep, as they like to keep them, they keep the sheep in bondage. They keep us encaged so that we can never know anything. So as long as we got our music and drugs, we're doing just fine. And like I say, these gentlemen knew certain knowledge about this Illuminati / New Age agenda that was to come, and they had been clipped out of the scene because of their outspokenness to this to this situation, to this nature.
Right, and you'll find that even within the music industry, there are some notable artists themselves that spoke out against a lot of the, it was more so labeled the New World Order or the Illuminati groups or what have you, and they have been ostracized, and some have even been, some would take the killing of Tupac and Biggie, as well as now DMX is very popular in the various videos that you'll see and different documentaries, hip-hop documentaries, where he speaks out against a lot of the crazy things that go on within the industry and what you have to sacrifice within yourself physically as well as faithfully and spiritually in order to be down, if you will. And we're gonna talk and touch about a lot more of this along with other issues and topics or what have you. But I want to again give this the opportunity for those listening to digest what they have just heard and to do their research, follow through with providing themselves with the truth within their beliefs as well as within the information being provided. I'd like to thank you once again for educating us all on your knowledge on what we call the New Age Movement Agenda. This is part 2. And if you are listening to part 2 and have not heard part 1, I direct you to the titled show, New Age Movement Agenda Part 1. Following this will be a part 3. And we will close with you again once we said if I had the power, we're going to do it once again. And, I like to always give the caller the last word. If I had the power, what would you do with that?
If I had the power, that's a great question. If I had the power, once again, man, it's just to be a mouthpiece once again. And that's what I'm trying to do here. It's just be a mouthpiece to speak up against the evils and principalities that believe that they are ruling everything, but in the end, God is going to have His reign. So as long as I can do God's bidding, as long as I can do exactly what He would like me to do, then I'm that is my last piece. And at the same time, I would like to stress the fact that if there's any concern, and we said this before, please do your research. If you have any concerns about what I speak or what anybody else speaks, always do the research before you just take what I say as a grain of salt. And I implore everyone to do that. So, yes, if I have the power, that's all I need to do is I'll please God.
All right, and I'm going to leave it with that. Again, I would like to thank all of our listeners. We provoke thought, and for that, we do not apologize. I am your host, The Voice, and I, again, would like to thank and direct everyone to New Age Movement, Agenda Part 1, and this is New Age Movement, Agenda 2. Following this will be New Age Movement, Agenda Part 3. I thank you all again, and I will say goodbye to you on the air.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you will, look right here.
This call has been recorded.